I could not talk about witchy books without mentioning one of my absolute favorite witchy series, which is... Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about my recommendations for the witchy books that you can read this spooky season. I am one of many people who love to read about witches during the fall season, and these are some of the books that I have already read and that I would highly recommend you checking out. So the first book is, let me grab it, The Witch Collector. It's the first book in the Witchwalker series by Cersei. This is a new adult fantasy romance. In this book, every harvest moon, the Witch Collector rides into the town where our main female character lives. Her name is Reina, and leads one of them where the immortal Frost King resides, and they remain there forever. So the people in the village where Reina lives do not have any idea what happens to the girls once they are taken, because nobody ever came back. And also they cannot travel there. First, it is too long up in the north. Second, they cannot cross the wards that are held to protect that area. There is so much magic in place that makes it impossible for them to cross that barrier. So nobody knows what happens to the girls that have these witch powers that are taken. So the books opens with the collecting day, and the collecting day is when the witch collector comes to this town to take one girl with these powers with him back to where the Frost King lives. So Reina Bloodgood is 24 years old, and she kept her witchy powers hidden, so he will not take her until she is ready for revenge, to revenge her sister who was taken, I think 10 or 12 years ago, something like that. So on collecting day, she was ready to execute her plan, but the village gets attacked while the witch collector was there and set on fire. During this attack, the collector, his name is Alexis, gets attacked and gets very badly injured. He was on the verge of death, but Reina cannot kill him because she really wants to know where her sister was taken, and she wants to be reunited with her sister. So she saves him, and they embarked on this journey together to get back to the main city, or the place where the Frost King is, to save the Frost King also, because this was like an attack from a different empire, and that if the empire falls, then she will not see her sister again. She will end up as a prisoner or end up killed. So as they go on this journey, she discovers a lot of secrets about Alexis and the Frost King, the empire, the gods involved, and the book is so much more than that. I was so surprised by how rich the world building was, the history and the gods, and the magic system was so unique, and the romance was just the cherry on top. Definitely will be continuing on with the series. We have already City of Ruin, the second book out, and we have a novella that is called The Wolf and the Witch that is out, and the third book, Kingdom of the Forgotten, coming this November. So yeah, I highly recommend this if you like witchy vibes. Also, the atmosphere was like very wintry, a lot of snow, a lot of winter cold descriptions, so it's very well suited for this time of the year. Highly recommend this. Okay, the next book that I want to talk about is a book that I read recently, One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This was so good and so different. It's a story about the sons and daughters of two of the most powerful rival witch families in New York. We have Baba Yaga and her 7 daughters, and Koschei and his 3 sons. So the two rival witch families fight to maintain the control of their respective criminal ventures in the city. So on one side of the conflict, we have the Antonova sisters. They are known for their beauty and cunning and ruthlessness, and their mother, Baba Yaga, and they are the only suppliers of high quality intoxicants in New York. On the other side, we have the Fedorov brothers. Their father, he is the crime boss known as Koschei the Deathless, who is the expert in extortion by dominating the shadows of the magical Manhattan. At its core, it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. There is a lot of angst and tension, but also full with action and plot twists that my head was going to explode by reading the book. This was a shock after a shock. It was so entertaining. You will absolutely be surprised while reading this book. Also, there is a lot of humor and a lot of wit in the banter that made it lighter when sometimes it gets more serious and more sinister. and the romances were just epic and heartbreaking, so definitely a great book to pick up this time of the year. The third book that I want to talk about is Serpent and Dove. This is a YA fantasy and it's a slow burn of enemies to lovers. The magic system in this book is not too complicated to grasp, which made it a very easy read. The banter in here is so good, with a lot of humor and a lot of tension. And in this book we are following Lou, who 2 years ago fled her coven and took shelter in the city of Caesarine. She was suppressing her magic and living in constant vigilance because here witches like Lou are feared and hunted and burned. She was very careful up until one burglary went wrong, and that is what set the wheels in motion. So one thing led to the other, which forced Reed, who is a chasseur, meaning he is a witch hunter in this world, and our Lou to get married. So the beginning was really funny as neither of them trusted the other and they were always like bickering. Their relationship reminded me so much of Matthias and Nina from Six of Crows. So if you love those two, you're going to love this. And if you love a slow burn enemies to lovers with marriage of convenience and a heartwarming female friendship, you will love this book. I could not talk about witchy books without mentioning one of my absolute favorite witchy series, which is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. This book, the first one is YA, the second and third one are new adult. Our witches in this book are our two twin sisters, Emilia and Victoria, who live secretly among humans. So in this town, there were a lot of murders and young women getting murdered, and we don't know why. We hear about it in the beginning of the book. And one night, Victoria becomes missing, and soon enough, Emilia finds out her body desecrated beyond belief. Emilia becomes devastated and sets out to find her sister's killer and to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means using dark magic that's been long forbidden. And by doing that, Emilia meets our main male character, Wrath. He's one of the wicked princes of hell that she had been warned against since she was a child, and she finds herself obligated to unite forces with Wrath to solve the mystery of her sister and the woman who got murdered across their island, because Victoria was not the first one. The banter and the bickering between Wrath and Emilia is epic, and the rest of the series gets even better. I promise you, each book is better than the one before. And the series, you get fascinating character and world expansion. I love this world so much, and I'm so happy to be back in it soon with Kerri Maniscalco's new release, Throne of the Fallen, which follows The Prince of Envy. So I highly recommend this series, and it's perfect for this time of the year. The fifth book is Cersei by Madeline Miller. If you love Greek mythology, you will fall in love with this book if you didn't read it yet. Cersei is born in the house of Helios. He's the god of sun. But Circe was a strange child since she was neither powerful like her father nor alluring like her mother. So when she gets older and because she feels left behind, she turns to the world of mortals for companionship. There she discovers that she does possess power, the power of witchcraft, where she learned that she has the power to transform enemies into monsters and challenge the gods themselves. So when Zeus hears of this, he feels of course threatened by her, so he banishes her to a deserted island where she hones her occult craft and tames wild beasts and crosses paths with so many of the most famous figures in all of the mythology, including Odysseus. At its core, this book is about self-discovery and owning yourself and accepting who you are fully, both your strengths and your weaknesses, and live life without regrets or apology. And that made me love this book so much. If you read this, you will find out that Cersei is an unforgettable character and she will stay with you for a very long time like she did with me. I love this book so much. I highly recommend it, and I especially recommend to pair it with the audio. The audio was magnificent. It was top notch. So yeah, Cersei by Madeline Miller. Okay, the next book is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Howley. This is a paranormal adult fantasy. We follow Mariel Spark. She's prophesied to be the most powerful witch seen in centuries of the very famous Spark family. But as she grew up, and now in this book she's 24 years old, I believe, she prefers baking and gardening, not brewing potions and casting hexes, and her mother hates it because her mother was expecting her child to be a very powerful witch, and she was expecting to be like very proud of her exceptional powers. One day, Mariel was trying a spell to summon flour to bake. The spell goes wrong, and Mariel finds herself staring down at a demon. His name is Osroth the Ruthless, and she accidentally summoned him for a soul bargain. In this book, Mariel was so sweet and quirky and cheerful, and we get to know more about Osroth and his history as the story goes, and he becomes attracted to Mariel as well. This is a witchy rom-com that will keep you entertained the whole day, and the next book is coming out this November, A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, so definitely pick that up. If you want a witchy type rom-com, this is for you. Okay, the next book that I want to talk about was very popular last year, and it is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is a YA fantasy romance, and even though in this book they are called sorcerers, not witches, I wanted to share this book with you because this was so entertaining. In this book we follow Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has been taught all her life that all sorcerers are evil. She's an orphan raised in one of Ostermere's great libraries, and she has grown up among magical grimoires, and these grimoires, if you provoke them, they can transform into these hideous, grotesque monsters of ink and leather, and she is training to become a warden. The wardens are charged to protect the kingdom from these grimoires. Then, one day, in the library, an act of sabotage happens, and it releases the library's most dangerous grimoire, and Elizabeth tries to save the day and intervenes, and that implicates her in a crime, and she has to face justice in the capital. So she travels with her sworn enemy, the sorcerer Nathaniel Thorne, and his mysterious demonic servant Silas, and soon enough she finds herself entangled in a centuries-old conspiracy. As the book progresses, we see her alliance with Nathaniel grow stronger, and Elizabeth starts to question everything she's been taught about sorcerers and about the libraries she loves, and even about herself. One thing that I will never forget about this book is that it really transported me to Ostermere, to this world, and sitting next to these characters, I got the same feelings from this book as when I was reading Harry Potter. So I think that this book truly has the power to transport you, and it is whimsical, flirtatious, filled with humor, and I highly recommend it. So next up, I'm going to mention some witchy graphic novels, and one of my favorites is The OK Witch. This is a middle grade series graphic novel. I absolutely fell in love with this book. Our main character is Moth, and unfortunately she moves to a new town where she gets bullied, and one day she finds out that there is a history of witches in this town, and that their family is somehow connected to it, and that she may or may not be a witch herself. The artwork is more detailed than your typical middle grade graphic novel, and it is so beautiful. And the dialogue in this book was so funny and lighthearted. So if you are looking for something to binge read, I definitely recommend the OK Witch series. And there are 2 books out now. I don't know if it's a duology or a series, but there is this book and the second book. So the next graphic novel is also a middle grade. It is Hooky. This is a very popular webtoon, and it got transformed into books. This is a fantastic story about twin siblings. Their names are Danny and Dorian, who have missed the bus to magic school, and they scramble to find a mentor to teach them before their parents find out. And they never thought they would wind up declared traitors to their own kind. So due to a series of events, they are being chased by powerful magic families seeking the prophesied king of witches, and also royals searching for missing princess. This book was a huge dose of serotonin. It is filled to the brim with magic and adventure, and it's so fun. And it is thick. It's a thick story, and it is a series, so this is the first book in a series. And also the artwork and the color palette is so beautiful. So the next series that I want to talk about is the manga series. It is called The Witch Hat Atelier. In this series, we follow a girl called Coco, and Coco has a simple dream. She wants to be a witch. But everybody knows in this world that magicians are born and not made, and Coco was not born with a gift for magic. So when she was about to give up on her dream to become a witch, she meets a mysterious traveling magician, and after secretly seeing Quifri performs magic in a way she's never seen before, Coco learns what everybody knows might not be the truth. She discovers that her magical dream may not be as far away as it may seem. The story was so wholesome and magical, and the art is amazing. Panel after panel of jaw-dropping drawings. It's just a chef's kiss. Okay, this video will not be complete without an honorable mention to the Raven Cycle series. This is the first book, The Raven Boys. Now, technically, there are no witches in here, but hear this. There are seers and psychics and ley lines and ghosts and spirits and people with some kind of magical power and a sleeping king and a legend and enchanted forests, and to top it all off, a cursed romance. Imagine all of these packed in a super dark witchy vibe that makes the series one of the most atmospheric books you will ever read in your entire life, along with one of the most epic found family you will ever encounter. I promise you. Every character was so unique and fleshed out, and you will fall in love with all of them. This is just one of the best series out there. I highly recommend you pick this book up. Also, if you pair it with the audio, you will get the most out of it. The audiobook is excellent. Highly recommend The Raven Boys. If you like atmospheric books with dark vibes, epic vibes, you need to give this a try. So this was my last recommendation. If you made it this far, please leave me the witch emoji and subscribe to the channel so we can become bookish friends. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!